Jacob Murphy keeps proving me wrong. Every single time I write this guy off, he turns up with a couple of goals or a couple of assists. A massive, massive game tonight for Newcastle United. Aston Villa in very, very good form. Manchester City dropped points. Chelsea dropped points. I said to everyone 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, I think this Newcastle United side can get third in the league. That may be a reality. If they win their game in hand, they are 1 point behind third place Nottingham Forest. What a season for Eddie Howe, winning their first trophy in 50 or 60 years and could get Champions League football as well. And everyone that says the one-man team, Alexander Isak, or Alexander Isaac, because everyone keeps telling me I pronounce it wrong. Well, Murphy stepped up tonight and so did Barnes. No Gordon, still scored 3 goals. Make sure you go out there, hit that subscribe button right down there. We are very, very close to 50,000 subscribers, and 90% of you who watch the content every single month are not subscribed. And make sure you go down, drop a like on the video. If we get it 300 likes, that'd be glorious. Let me know your thoughts on Leicester 0, Newcastle United 3. And I'll be honest, I thought Newcastle would win tonight, but I didn't think it would be that easy. They absolutely butchered Leicester City. Before I get into the result, I want to talk about how important that was. Aston Villa have won 3 games in a row and look like they are finding the best time of the season to find their form. Nottingham Forest lost after a good run of form. Chelsea at the moment are very up and down. And of course, City are there. But if they win their game in hand, they go 3 points clear of Chelsea, 4 points clear of Manchester City, and only 1 point behind Nottingham Forest. When I did my end of season predictions, a lot of people said I was absolutely ludicrous for thinking this Newcastle United side would get third. When you got a player in your team like Tonali, when you got players like Bruno Guimaraes, Alexander Isak or Isaac, however you want to pronounce it, Gordon, Murphy has now stepped up this season a lot. Murphy at the moment for Newcastle United this season has got 7 goals in the league, 7 goals in the league and 9 assists. In the League Cup, he got 1 goal and 2 assists. So that's 19 goal contributions this season from Jacob Murphy. And it was a Newcastle United side that, let's be honest, they've got far more quality than Leicester City. Let's just get that out of the way straight away. There is far more quality there in that Newcastle United side. For Bruno Guimaraes is very, very good tonight. And I was impressed with how Eddie Howe managed his minutes. The game was done. The game was wrapped up. You know, he had a decent run out of around 60 minutes. And then just, don't worry, we've got Manchester United on the weekend. That's the mindset now, you know? Tonali, Joelinton, and Bruno, for me, you guys know how I feel about that midfield. I think that's one of the most well-balanced midfields in the league. I thought Trippier had a decent game tonight. I thought Livramento was good, of course, got an assist. Barnes was good, got a goal. You know, Pope, another clean sheet for the Newcastle United boys. That's a really, really good run of form for them, you know, winning that cup, then going and beating West Ham before that, then going and beating Brentford. That's 4 wins on the bounce now. That's 3 Premier League wins on the bounce. Manchester United and Crystal Palace up next at St James's Park. I expect this Newcastle United side to be in the Champions League next season. And they got off to the perfect start. You guys know, I always say the first 15 minutes of the first half and the first 15 minutes of the second half are the most important parts of a football match. And when you're 3-0 up at half-time, you know, Livramento with the assist for Murphy's first goal, you know, Newcastle United lead. The visitors had their first attack and absolutely made Leicester City pay. Barnes placing a decent pass to Livramento, who crosses a delightful ball at the far post. Air is Murphy. And look, I've criticised this guy, and I'm happy to hold my hands up. He is a lot better than I thought he was. Stepped up. Leicester's leaky defence, absolutely all over the shot. And then about 10 minutes later, Jacob Murphy was at it again, doubles Newcastle United's lead, but essentially puts the game to bed. And straight from defence to attack, Newcastle United are in. It was a very, very, very good first half performance. One of their best first halves this season. Shah intercepts a loose ball before shooting from practically the halfway line. He ended up hitting the crossbar before it falls into Murphy's path, who makes it 2-0. And then indeed he's given away stupid fouls. You know, of course, Barnes accessed the player back at the King Power Stadium, and Newcastle have another. They were 3-0 up, absolutely flying within 30 minutes. Barnes were teed up Isak, who sees his shot blocked, falls back kindly to Joelinton, who cuts back, plays it into Barnes, and there it was, 3-0. And that was all she wrote. The second half was just about managing out the game for Newcastle United. And when you look at their upcoming fixtures, there's a reason why I think this Aston Villa game is the biggest game of the remainder of their season. That Aston Villa game at Villa Park is absolutely huge for them. If they can build some momentum, bearing in mind, Aston Villa have a lot more football to play as well. So Aston Villa do have to play an FA Cup game. Aston Villa have to play home and away against PSG. So it's going to be very interesting how Unai Emery manages that team. But I'm going to say it right now. Newcastle United will win their next 4 games. They will beat Ipswich, Crystal Palace, and Manchester United at St James's Park. Everything seems to be aligning for Newcastle. Manchester United have to play Real Sociedad. Sorry, not Real Sociedad. Lyon away on Thursday. Then they travel to St James's Park. Manchester United will have to focus on their rotation heavily. Then they play Crystal Palace Wednesday, midweek at St James's Park, which is their game in hand. Then they're away to Aston Villa, which is absolutely massive. But if I bring up Aston Villa's games and their current run they've got, if I bring up how many games they have to play, so they've got 2 extra games compared to when, they've got to play PSG home and away. Then they play Newcastle. Then they play City, which is a massive game. 2 back-to-back top four race games. Then they play Crystal Palace in the semi-finals at Wembley. So it's a massive, massive month for Aston Villa. And due to the fact that Unai Emery has got a lot more games, which is why I think the reason why they will beat Aston Villa to the top 4 this season. And I'm backing them right now. The way they're playing, beating West Ham away with a clean sheet, beating Leicester away with a clean sheet, winning the cup, the morale, everything seems to be going right for Newcastle United. And I do expect them this season to get in top 4. And I'm not going to lie, if they get in the top 4, I honestly do not believe Alexander Isak, however you want to pronounce it, I think he will remain a Newcastle United player. And at this moment in time, if they get in the top 4, if they're winning major honours, why would he want to leave? If they get in the Champions League and go and win another domestic trophy this season, I don't see right now why he would want to leave. Newcastle United are, they absolutely love their football club. They're one of the most passionate fan bases out there. And look at their recent results. Look at their last 4 games. Beating Liverpool, beating West Ham, beating Brentford in a tough game, going out there and beating Leicester City. Now you've got Manchester United, Crystal Palace, Villa, Ipswich, Brighton away, Chelsea. So the Villa and Chelsea games, absolutely huge. Other than that, they'll beat Everton. I think they may even, Arsenal by then, their season will practically be done in terms of the league. It's about continuing this run of games, continuing this run of form, building momentum onto the next game. Nottingham Forest have not got an easy run of games coming up either. And let's not forget, Newcastle did beat them only a few weeks ago. Nottingham Forest have still got to play Chelsea, still got to play Spurs, still got to play that cup semi-final against Manchester City. So it's going to be a really, really interesting time the next couple of weeks for Newcastle United. You just have to keep this going. I'm backing them. I honestly think the way they're playing right now, the fact that everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, everyone's together, the morale is absolutely electric. And, you don't have to rely on Alexander Isak. Like this narrative that goes around that they're just a one-man team, etc., etc. Newcastle United are a very, very good side. They've only scored 4 less goals than Arsenal. They've outscored Forest this season. They're only 2 goals behind Chelsea. And yes, they have a game in hand. That game in hand is against Crystal Palace, who will be focusing on the FA Cup. Trust me. Trust me about that. This weekend, they play Manchester United. I think they'll get top 4. It's refreshing to see the Premier League this season with Newcastle United and Nottingham Forest are in the top 4. It's really refreshing. This league, this narrative that you can only achieve things if you're one of the big 6 clubs. Absolute BS. Make sure you go down, drop a like. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we are steamrolling our way. We're about 550 subscribers away from 50K. I will see you all soon. I'm out.